Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I am Ricardo Crepaldi, Director of Data Enablement at BASF and Ambassador of the CDO Magazine in Germany. I'm calling today from the cloud Ludwigshafen in the Palatine area, and I will be the moderator for today's interview, which is a partnership with CDO Magazine, MIT, CDO IQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers. And today, I have the pleasure of talking with Dr. Michael Stonebraker, founder, CTO, and visionary of Hopara, and Kent Smith, CEO of founder of Hopara. Hi, guys. How are you today?
We're doing great.
Great. Thanks, Ricardo. How are you?
I'm great. Great. Are you calling from Boston? And Michael, you as well?
I'm calling in from New Hampshire, where it is 12 degrees outside and there's all kinds of snow on the ground.
Okay, cool. Yeah, here I'm going to close my day in the next hours. Cloudy day, cold day, but okay. So guys, then I have some questions here that much probably is going to also be the interest of the audience for the CDO magazine. And then I would like to start, Michael, to ask you that you have been around the data space for a few years. And what are some of the biggest changes you have seen recently that will have a significant impact moving forward?
Okay, sure. I've been around more than a few years, so I have a lot of gray hair. and I think the things that are most important right now is that is the cloud. I think that everyone should have a plan to move everything they possibly can to the cloud as quickly as they can. And the reason is very simple. It will be cheaper. And I can just give you one very quick vignette as to why it's cheaper. Microsoft Azure, their data centers are shipping containers in parking lots, in places with cheap power, wall and roof optional, only there for security. So compare that with raised floor data centers, in Berlin or Frankfurt. They are simply cheaper. They also offer, resource on demand, which is basically you pay for what you need. And you don't pay for it when you don't use it. And so they're almost guaranteed to be cheaper. And so, and that they will get even more cheaply over time. So I'm a huge fan of the cloud, and I think decision support should move there aggressively as quickly as possible. And I think OLTP will take a longer time, but should move if it can. That will be weighed down by internal legacy systems. So I think the cloud is a major, major disruptive force. The second thing I think is the data-driven enterprise. I think CEOs are waking up to the fact that data is your real value add, and that you need to empower everybody to be able to use it efficiently, quickly, and painlessly. And I think making that happen is going to be a challenge, but is very, very important if enterprises are going to succeed at being data-driven. So I think those are the two biggest disruptors right now.
Cool, and I couldn't agree more. No, and even to achieve such data-driven organization is related also to the first point that you mentioned about the cloud. No, that is going to be a kind of enablement for this data-driven enterprise. No, due to the cost, as you mentioned, elasticity, scalability. No, cool. So thank you. And now talking about the role of the CDO, how do you see the role of the CDO has evolved in the coming years?
Okay, so my point of view is I think a lot of CDOs have their feet nailed to the floor. And so just for example, the average data scientist spends between 80 and 90% of his time finding the data he wants to analyze, integrating it together, and cleaning it. And empowering data scientists, it's crucial that they knock down this big number. So realistically, a data scientist spends Monday through Thursday and half of Friday do what we would all call mung work, and spends less than half a day a week doing the job for which he was hired, and which is the high value add. So enterprises are going to, and realizing that enterprises are full of data silos, hundreds of them, and that if you don't allow your CDO to see into all of these data silos, he has no chance of being able to figure out a silo integration strategy to assist data scientists. So I think we've got to empower the CDO to do a much more systematic, take a much more systematic view of data integration. When I say data integration broadly, it's sort of what data scientists need, and it's what lots of business users also need. Because if you want to do cross-selling between your various business units, you've got to integrate customer databases from all of these various silos. That's a data integration problem. So I think one of the key things that that CDOs should be worried about is broadly data integration across the silos in an enterprise. And I find that many of them do not have read access to every bit of data in the enterprise, and that seems to be just completely required. I think the second thing is as you move to the cloud, that's largely a data problem. And you have one thing you can do is just lift and shift. And that will be missing a huge opportunity to modernize. And so I think the cloud is an opportunity to change a bunch of things. But to do that, you've got to have a global strategy, which should come from the CDO. And if you don't empower him to do that, then you will be losing the opportunity to modernize. So I think we need to beef up the CDO's job description and give him, at the very least, give him access to every bit of enterprise data that exists.
And again, thank you, Michael and Ken, for joining me today. It was a pleasure to spend this time with you guys. And also thank you for that is watching this video. And if you want to see more content like this one and more videos, please just visit the cdomagazine.tech.